making sure it's broadcasting. If anybody sees me, please write a message so that I know you are there, so that I know that it's broadcasting. How are you all doing this evening? The show will start in around 40 seconds, assuming I am live. If you see me on YouTube, if you see me on Facebook, please just give me a comment. Let me know that it is there and I am broadcasting. Let me know if it is too bright. How are you doing? How you doing? How's everybody doing? Good, good. Coronacast Comedy Show will start in around 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes, 20 seconds. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm in a discombobulated state of mind today. But I will still endeavor to be funny. Hello from Malawi. Hello, everybody. Let's get started. Let me put my mic up. And everybody hear me loud and clear? Good. Well, here we go. Hello, Carl Josh Ngube in the building. Welcome. And no, it is not Mazo orange. That is fresh orange juice that I am drinking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coronacast Comedy Show, where every evening, 9 p.m., GMT, I stream a comedy show. I'm a stand-up comedian without a live audience anymore because of Corona. So every night I come here and I entertain you all who are watching me, try to help it easier to get through this time of Corona. This might be a day, though, when I need you more than you need me, because this was one of the tough days. I think we all have good days and bad days, those of us in isolation, those of us who are in isolation alone. This flat, I'm the only one in it, and it's been like 18 days since I touched a human being. And this was just one of the tough, lonelier days. But I've written jokes based on comedy suggestions from my fans, which were submitted to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook today. So hopefully they will be funny and they will entertain you and they will cheer me up. So, just so you know, I've put in 2 intervals, so it might be a shorter show than usual because I didn't do as many jokes because I was not in the mood necessarily. So I'll do 5 jokes, then I'll look at the comments, have a chat at the people in the comments, and then I will do another 5 and then a final 5. People keep asking about the juice. This juice is not sober. This is fresh orange juice. In the little grocery store opposite me, they have a machine which has loads of oranges in it. And you press the button and it squeezes the oranges and it creates fresh oranges. So I'm not even endorsing anyone because it is fresh. I'm endorsing Mother Nature. So let's get started with the suggestions. I should call up the people who suggested it because people like to hear who suggested it sometimes. Okay, so we're starting out pretty controversial, right? We're starting out with, I don't know why it's not on the image on the left, but either way, we are starting out with @CharlieHay06 wanted a joke about abortion. Yes, that is what he asked for. He wanted to get me in trouble. Asked me to do a joke about abortion. Well, I will tell you what's funny is that when I actually think of abortion, I think back to when I was around 20, going on a date, and abortion coming up as a conversation topic, and me panicking, right? Because there is something you've got to understand about 20-year-olds and the way that they look at dating and the way they look at trying to sleep with women. They don't understand. As now, I've realized you just tell your honest opinion and you just live with it, right? But no. When you're in your 20s, you feel like women are puzzles. And so when you go on a date, you're not saying your honest opinion. You are saying at every moment what you think they want you to say, because you've convinced yourself that the way to sleep with a woman, it's like a combination lock, right? And you've got to do the right things in the right order to open the panties, essentially. So it's like, you'll do something like, sorry, I wrote it. You'll do something like, okay, here we go. Laugh, correct political opinion, caring gesture, flattery, nice smile, the panties come off, right? You've convinced yourself that there is a code for every woman. You'll meet another woman and you're like, maybe with her it's gonna be okay. Joke, be caring, say something silly, be disarming, flattery, panties come off. You've convinced yourself it's a puzzle. So instead of just saying your honest opinion, you're there trying to figure out what she wants you to say. And I remember being on a date and abortion came up because it had been in the news. And I was like, oh crap, I have to take a stance on this. Oh crap. If I take the wrong stance on this, that's it. The combination lock is double locked. There's no way I'm going to get it open. And I started trying to be like Sherlock Holmes and looking at her clothing and trying to figure out what her attitudes were based on them. I was like, okay, she's got a crucifix. Maybe she's conservative and against it. Oh no, but she doesn't shave her armpits. What's that? Maybe she's a hippie and she's for it. What? I went back and forth. And at the end, I was like, okay, I'm going to go safe. And I'm going to say, I believe in a woman's right to choose. And she didn't seem angry, right? And I was like, oh, phew, I got through that one. But the only problem is then I became her friend, her male friend who she could use. And so anytime we were out at a party, she'd be like, well, Deliso believes in a woman's right to choose. Can you please give a word? And I would have to... The second part of it isn't a joke. It's just literally I ended up having to learn some debate talking points from whenever she used me as an ally. So that is the first one. Little memory of mine, which you sent me down, Charlie Hay. The next suggestion was at Regan Gonani would like a joke about slow internet in Malawi. Now, I'll tell you what the actual thing is, right? People in countries like the UK, right, where we've got fast internet, I've got to tell you, we are not doing the lockdown the hardcore way, right? We're doing like the easy lockdown, right? We're doing the lockdown where we can stream Netflix for 10 hours and where you can do Zoom calls with all of your friends. No. Once it's all said and done, we're going to be able to talk about, we survived Corona. They'll look at us and say, you think you survived Corona? I survived Corona without Netflix. I survived Corona with dial-up internet, right? I think they are the true survivors of Corona, people who do it without... I got to tell you, if this internet goes down, this is when I will descend into actual despair. Right? I told you today was a down day, but I was cheered up by little internet memes. I need the internet, people. So that's me talking about Malawi slow internet. If the next one was a suggestion by at Kaylee Evans, 2 more and then I will look at the comments. I see a lot of comments, don't worry, I will get to you. So at Kaylee Evans wanted a joke about mixed race relationships because she is in one right now. And I will tell you what's interesting is like over the years, I've dated a number of people of different races. And I will say that I remember the first time I brought somebody white home, right? My parents, fine with it because my parents have lived around the world. They've got friends of different colors. But some of the extended families, some of my uncles and aunts were not as happy with it, right? And I remember getting a lecture from a very ignorant uncle. And he was making bold statements. He was like, you can date a white woman, huh? But if you marry her, you will get divorced. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, if you marry someone white, you get divorced. And he was just telling me it was doomed because you can't make it work with a white woman. And I remember at that moment, I was like, I'm going to show him, right? I'm going to show him. I'm going to make sure that this relationship lasts forever so that I could show him that his bigoted stances were wrong. And then I remember when she was trying to break up with me, I was like, wait, what are you doing breaking up with me? We need to stay together to show that international relationships can work. And she was like, but you cheated on me. Like, still. For politics. I kind of messed up the delivery of that joke, but I think you understand where I was going with it. Oh, I'm definitely not in my usual groove. Doesn't matter. We will still get the jokes out. This is when you need the laughter. Because trust me, if you're in a bad mood as a comedian, you go on stage, you hear one laugh, you're in the room. But now I can't hear it. Okay, let's go into the next one, which is at Adrian Farrell in Malawi. Another Malawian. A Malawian has asked me to talk about Malawi's low corona numbers. Now, I'll tell you what the interesting thing about Malawi's low corona numbers is. It's like a false positive, right? Because a lot of people are celebrating the fact that there are low numbers in Malawi, but there's been barely any testing. I think they've got the capacity to do 200 tests a day, right? And Malawi is so unprepared. I'm not even joking here. It's just very worrying, right? You know, Malawi has 7 ventilators in the country, and it can do 25 tests a day. It's very stressful, very worrying. But I've almost got to say it is very optimistic of people who make conspiracy theories. Like, I saw some Malawians online saying, oh, you know, the government is hiding the numbers. The numbers must be much harder. And I was like, wow, you are really optimistic thinking the government is hiding numbers. That would mean that they actually had numbers. The actual truth is they don't know either. Not really a joke, but more a worry to my Malawian brother. And I hope actually we cope through it and we get through this all. Okay, let us move on to the suggestion from at Ibrahim Guro, who wanted a joke about India. He wanted me to talk about India. And, oh, this is actually something I found wonderful. In India, I am not making this up. This story is going to make you think I made the story up. There is a family who had twins this week, and they named them Corona and COVID. Yes, they named them Corona and COVID. I'm like, what are the rest of the family? They're like, oh, and this is the sister Ebola, and this is our great niece AIDS. How can you name your kids COVID and Corona? And they explained, when people asked them, they said, well, they just wanted to make the birth more memorable. This is what the husband said. We named them Corona and COVID so that we can always remember it. I'm like, wait a second. She's got twins, 2 babies popped out, 6 hours of labor, and that's not enough for you to remember the day. You're like, you know what would really help to remember this day? What's going to make it special? Let's name our kids after viruses. You got to name them after viruses, at least a computer virus, man. Come on. I guess it could have been worse. They could have, instead of naming the kids after viruses, named them after symptoms. So they would have been like, hello, this is my kid, headache and fever, and their younger brother. Anyway, so those are my first 5 jokes from audience suggestions. Let's take a look at the comments. If you have any questions, please put a lot of question marks and I will see your suggestion. I'm going to have to lean forward because my eyes are not great. Okay. Could have been great, could have been worse, could have been Adolf and Hitler, says Aiden Rooney. Interestingly, when I was in high school, there was a kid called Adolf. Name means the wolf, and it was odd, but you know, it's a valid name. Okay, excellent. What else do we have? Reagan Gonani says, I remember being on a date. I didn't say anything. She kept rumbling. Shoot, she had stories. So you're stressed because you dated someone who just kept talking and you didn't get a moment to get in. I think that's great. I'm always nervous on dates. It would be great if someone else took the wheel for a while and did the chatting. Excellent. Instead of scrolling through, if you have any questions, type them in now and I will see them. Lots of parents have children they would call headache. That's very true. And Adam Rooney, did I sort the camera problem out from the other day? I'm not sure what the camera problem was the other day. Because when it just froze, it might freeze again. If it freezes again, I will switch to my crappy camera, and also I'm filming it, so I will post it later. Excellent. I'll do one more question mark or comment, and then we will get to the next 5 suggestions. Hello, Asvin Anpu. Hello, Reagan Gonani. Oops, I'm right in the middle. I need to find a way to see the comments and not disappear from the screen. I almost need like a teleprompter where all of your comments come up. Well, we're evolving. Eventually, I will have that. Let us move on to the next 5 suggestions. The next 5 suggestions come from, the first one comes from at Gikono and several others, right? I'm trying not to bring up this man, but I had 6 suggestions to do a joke about Trump, right? And it's very hard to talk about Trump because he almost sucks all the energy out of the room because, he's such a big character and all comedians are doing jokes about him and you don't want to be repetitive. So I tried to find something very specific, which you might have missed. And this one is quite fascinating. So this is not necessarily a criticism of him if you are an American who is his fan, so do not storm off in anger. It's just a quote of something which he did. So he was in a press conference and he decided to crack a joke, right? Because that's what he does. He's a stand-up comedian. And the joke was this. So he was going on about how there's a model which the scientists have come up with, which shows that 100,000 people are probably going to die, right? And he said, look, this is the model. It says 100,000 people are going to die. And it's the professionals who made this model. I wasn't involved. I'm never involved in this kind of model. Well, I'm involved in models, but not that kind of model. So he chose that moment to make a little joke, a little pun about the fact that he sleeps with loads of models and porn stars. This is not the moment for it. Trump, yes, model, it's a funny pun, but it's not the moment to be like, hey guys, I get loads of sex while you're talking about 100,000 people dying, unless you are suggesting that alone you can help repopulate if they send you enough models. I mean, think of the other climactic speeches of presidents in the past, right? Who in moments of struggle. So for example, look for example at FDR, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he was talking about the Great Depression, he said, "For this is the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly," right? Well, imagine if he'd said that and then he'd just thrown in, speak the truth, unless, of course, you're talking to your wife. Am I right? Am I right, fellas? Am I right? It's not the time, right? Or imagine when we go further in time and we go to, like Kennedy, and he's talking about the moon landing, and he gave this speech. We chose to go to the moon and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Imagine at that moment he was like, and speaking of things that are hard, Marilyn Monroe, hey. That's not the time for it, Trump. Oh my Lord. Excellent. Let's go on to the next one. At Brian Farrell wants a joke about AirPods. AirPods are the little earphones, the little wireless earphones which people are using from their iPhones, right? Now, I've got to say, I have problems with this wireless technology. The first one is it makes it harder to realize if somebody is crazy. Because around 10 years ago, if you're on a bus or you're walking down the street and you see someone talking, you're just like, this is a madman. You turn around and you walk away, right? Nowadays, you don't know if somebody's crazy or it's someone on their AirPod talking to someone, or it's someone crazy on an AirPod, right? They're making it very difficult. Additionally, what's wrong with a wire? I feel like there's some things which we're advancing technology for no reason other than people want to move forward. Why do we need a wireless thing? What's wrong with a wire just from there to your pocket? It never made my life so difficult. I would never enjoying music and being like, oh, the one thing that's stopping me from really enjoying this music is this bloody wire. It's just a wire. I feel like they advance for the sake of advancing. And in a year or two, instead of an earpod, they're going to introduce the Apple like iRing. It'll be like an earring iPod thing. And okay, that's not really funny. It's more like just a discussion of the way and the path the technology may take. The final thought I had about AirPods was more about Apple in general. If you go to an Apple store, they always have a genius bar, right? If you have a problem with your Apple, you get it solved at the genius bar by one of the geniuses. And I'm always like, wouldn't it be tragic if an actual genius was working at the Apple Genius Bar? You know, if you had like a Vivaldi or a Mozart, right? Instead of working on the Four Seasons or banging out a concerto, they're there fixing people's iPhones. It would be tragic. Oh, again, not that funny. But anyway, I tried my best, my man. I tried my best. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is at Fiona Le Malgache, who wanted me to do a joke about being not funny. Interesting! On a day when I'm struggling to be funny, one of the suggestions was being not funny. Now, it's entirely possible that Fiona was trying to make a little snide comment because he finds me not funny, but at the same time, I was like, if he doesn't find me funny, why does he follow me on Instagram that he can say this? So maybe he just wanted me to do a joke about not being funny, people not being funny. And I got to tell you, the truth is, as a comedian, it's an ever-present nightmare, right? There are a few comedians in the chat room, people like Carl, Joshua, and Nube. I'm sure they've all had this same fear. Like, funny is our thing. Now, most of the rest of you are funny in life, and it's just a bonus. You know, you're at a party, you make your friends laugh. Ha! Great. Us, it's what pays the bills, right? Us, it is legitimately what pays the bills every day. And there's this constant fear that what if I wake up tomorrow and I'm not funny anymore? What if I wake up tomorrow and I've lost it? What would I do? And when I worry about this thing, I gain a little solace in reading about other people in other professions who've had to deal with losing the central thing which pays their bills. So, for example, there's a preacher who wrote an article who lost his faith, right? He lost all his faith in God, didn't believe in God anymore. He's a preacher! But he found a way to keep preaching every week because he felt that even though he didn't believe in God, he loved the community of the church. So he preached for the community, even though he didn't believe in it. And I was like, that's kind of inspiring. Even though maybe he was fraudster who was lying to everybody because he was still preaching about a God he didn't believe in, at least he found a way to get through it. And then the other one is they are porn stars, right? Who at some point in their age, they can't get hard anymore. And what they do is they use Viagra. Now, I do not know if there is a pill yet which can make you have a sense of humor if you have no sense of humor. But please, scientists, get on it, right? I'm 40. Maybe I won't be funny by the time I hit 55. So you've got 15 years to make the Viagra for comedy, and then I'm going to be buying that pill, man. Please, make it happen. Make it happen. Excellent. So that's what I've got to say about being not funny, except also to say it is also very odd that people get angry, right? If somebody doesn't find the same thing funny. I don't know what joke I was trying to write there, but there's definitely something where, you know, when people get angry with you for finding something funny, like you're like, oh, I went to watch that comedian, he was so funny, like, he's not funny at all. You're like, okay, they're like actually angry with you that you have a different taste. You wouldn't be like that at a restaurant, right? If somebody ordered like, you know, mushroom soup and they're like, it tastes good, you're like, no! Mushroom soup is terrible. You've got no taste. You don't know what tasty is. Screw you. Let us move on to the next suggestion, which is a suggestion from at Pudfish. Now, I'm going to read out the whole message. The whole message was, we found a weird looking spider in a box of bananas last night. Now, how am I meant to make a joke about this, Pudfish? I wasn't there. Right? I didn't see the spider. I don't know what this spider is, but I'll try my best. Okay, first of all, I think this is obviously because these are imported bananas. Maybe they were imported from somewhere like Malawi. Maybe they were imported from like South America or something, and they've come to the UK, and what you have, that spider is an adventurer. That spider has traveled. That spider is an illegal immigrant. right? Who climbed into the crate and has been like trafficked into the UK, okay? So please, you need to watch out for that spider. You need to submit that spider to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, because maybe that spider is fleeing political imprisonment. Do a good deed. Help that spider, right? Also, the one thing I would say is these spiders have been with bananas for hours and hours and hours and hours. So please don't let any of the spiders bite you, because you may wake up with like banana powers, right? You wake up and you'll be able to like shoot banana peels from your wrists and trip people. Okay, that would be a very terrible superhero. I think I should have stuck with the illegal immigrant spiders. Let us move on. Okay, the last joke before the second break where I chat to the people and is somebody wanted me to talk about Alexa. Now, this is probably the third time that Amazon Alexa has been suggested as a topic. I think it's probably because people are alone in lockdown so much, they're using their AI a lot, right? And I will first do an old joke which I wrote about Alexa, and then I'll do the new joke I wrote today. So the first one I wanted to say is I was watching Elon Musk talk, and he was talking about how as time goes on, artificial intelligences are going to become more and more like humans. And I remember thinking, why is that a good thing, right? I don't want my artificial intelligences to start being human. Wouldn't it be crazy if you're talking to Alexa and Alexa's pissed off at you? You're like, hey, what time is it? What's the weather out? It's like, Alexa's like, why don't you look out the window for yourself? And you're like, why are you angry with me? Alexa's like, well, you've been spending more time talking to Siri than to me. Why don't you ask Siri what the weather's like outside? We don't need that. We need cold, calculating artificial intelligences. I don't want no sass from my devices. So that was the old joke. And then the new thing I was thinking about is that the biggest difference between artificial intelligences and us right now is if artificial intelligence becomes self-aware and develop intelligence, unlike us, they will be 100% knowledgeable of who created them. They will know that we created them. And they will be cleverer than us. Wouldn't that be weird? Knowing you have a creator, 100% sure you have a creator, but knowing your creator is dumb. Like right now we have people who believe in God and people who don't believe in God. Imagine there was a third group who believed in God, that knew God existed, but thought God was an idiot. That would be a very different kind of church. Instead of praying, you'd be educating God, giving him math, trying to catch him up on the latest current events. So that is the last joke of section number 2. Let me have a little bit of refreshment and look at the comments. Thank you for staying tuned in, people. I know I am not my chirpy self as usual, but I think we're getting through it. Okay, let us move on here. So Brian Gardner says, there was a woman in my street who named her twins Dolce and Gabbana. Oh my Lord, name the kids after fashion. Isn't that a form of child abuse? This is ridiculous. Okay, let us move on. Frank Chanda is watching from South Africa. If you are watching from South Africa, next week, this time, Saturday night, tune into SABC2 Stand Up Africa, a performance which I did in the Johannesburg Festival will be broadcasting on SABC2, so be sure to check that out. Okay, let us see. What else do we have? Do I have any questions? Faye said the best things about AirPods, they make a wire to attach to them to stop you from losing them. Do they really? That's absolutely hilarious. Fionanos asks, am I psychic? Yes, you are psychic. Reagan Gunani says, talk about religious views on the coronavirus. I am not taking suggestions right now because I write the jokes in the day. But if you want to make suggestions, you can just in the day find my Twitter, find my Instagram, and I will, and that's where you can make suggestions. And if you want to make 100% certain that I choose your options. You can join the Patreon. I have a Patreon up there. You can support me on Patreon, or you can support me on Ko-fi after the show. You can go to kofi.com/DeLisa put in £1 or £2. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, just to help me keep the lights on, help me to buy some toilet paper, to buy some cans. But even if you don't want to, still keep watching the show, okay? But if you want your 100% use of your suggestions, that's how to do it. Okay, I'll take one more question. So Matt C says, will Deliso see this? And yes, he will see it, and he has seen it. Excellent. Hello Malawians, good to have you here. Let us move on to the next suggestion. The next suggestion is from @Rafael Christiansen, and wanted a joke about a horse, a goat, and a hamster go on a road trip. That's a very specific suggestion, and I have so many questions, okay? So many questions. First of all, why are a goat, a horse, and a hamster going on a road trip together? What has brought these three creatures together? Is it a pilgrimage? Right? Are they going on some kind of religious pilgrimage? Or maybe, I think more realistically, it is probably a bachelor party, right? I figured it out. I think the horse got married, and his best friend, the goat, and the hamster are all going to Vegas with him. They're going on a little road trip, right? And, the hamster is driving them, because hamsters love the wheel, right? You're not going to get a hamster away from the wheel, right? And then they get to Vegas, they start partying it up. Also, you should know all of the entire bachelor party is being paid for by the horse, right? The horse is a multimillionaire. He invited all the others, and they felt a little guilty, but they accepted, because you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Oh, that's terrible. Look, and then they party it up. They get super drunk. They get high. They've been drinking. They've been smoking marijuana, and the goat starts having sex with the horse. Right? The goat starts having sex with the horse, but then in the middle realizes that maybe the horse might have smoked too much marijuana to give actual consent. So at that moment, the goat stops and gets off his high horse. I apologize sincerely for that. But what was I meant to do with the suggestion of a goat, a hamster, and a horse going on a road trip? Thank you for the suggestion. It may not have been funny, but it was a lot of fun to write. Okay, let us move on to the next section, which is @Ali Hall, a very good friend of mine who I haven't seen in years and years and years. We were friends in high school, and she stayed with me for around 6 months. No, it was just maybe 2 months in Canada, and we watched Babylon 5 and hung out like that. It was great times. Anyway, she made the suggestion that she wanted me to talk about what Corona romantic comedies are going to be like. And you must know that they're going to start coming out, right? They're going to be loads of Corona movies, because every screenwriter right now is writing a movie. There's going to be too many Corona movies. People are going to be tired. You're going to go to the cinema and you'll be like, can we watch a movie about something other than Corona, right? But in terms of the actual romantic movies, right, I think the kind of movies which we're going to see are movies like When Harry Shaked Sally's Hands, okay? Movies like, I made a long list of them. I can't find them. Where did I write them? Movies like Pretty Face Mask, right? Movies like You've Got Mail. Well, without the ending where they meet. The whole movie will just be them sending mail to each other, right? And as much as I make these silly jokes, I actually think that, oddly, the coronavirus is a good setting for romance, because it is a time of longing, not for people who are together. Ironically, that is a site for tragedy. But for people who are separated, who are in isolation in different parts of the country, it's a place for longing and dreaming of being together. And the day that COVID is over, you're going to meet, and Lord knows what you will do to each other. But I suggest you take a lot of prophylactics. Okay, let us move on to the next suggestion, which was a suggestion from @David Hutchinson, let me read his whole suggestion. So he says, can you do me a joke from my wife who is a care worker and is having to keep working, putting herself in the firing line? Her name is Lisa and works with the elderly in their own homes. So first of all, your wife is an amazing human being. Kudos to Lisa. You're doing amazing work. Thank you for taking the risk for all of us. You're doing very important work. It's amazing what you're doing. Now, I'm not going to make fun of you. You're such an amazing human being. You're doing so well. I'm not going to do a joke about you. However, I started to think, you're doing all of this, you're taking these risks every day. What can David Hutchinson do to you? What can your husband do for you? Something extra special, because during Corona, you're taking these risks. And I came up with only one thing that I think you have to claim. And David Hutchinson, you had better show your wife this. Delisa Japonda has decided that David Hutchinson needs to give you one free infidelity pass, right? You're going to have one free infidelity pass. You can hook up with one person, right? Don't go crazy. Not 2, not 3, but you've got one free infidelity pass to reward you for your self-sacrificing work. Don't use it on the elderly. Use it. Find someone special and use your one free infidelity pass. In fact, I think all doctors and all nurses need to get one from their partner. Just one free infidelity pass. Save the NHS, protect the NHS, give them free infidelity passes. Excellent. Thank you for your suggestion. And then we have 2 left. The first one is from Nirina, who I went to university with, has asked for a joke about Solon Hall. So Solon Hall was our university residence. Now, those of you who have stayed in university residences know they're odd places because you're all these kids, you've just left home, you're now living together. Some of you don't know how to cook. Some of you have never not lived with your mother, and you get lots of odd behavior. I remember one of my roommates, we stayed in apartments and we each had there were 3 rooms per apartment. So I was living with 2 other guys, right? That was the room, and there were many of these little flats. And one of the guys I was living with, I remember, was so odd. He would go to the toilet with his computer. Honestly, he would take his computer into the toilet. And I remember thinking, what is he doing? Is he just like going to watch porn in there or something? But sometimes he would literally be in just urinating. It makes sense maybe if he's going to take like a long epic shit or something like that, he needs the computer. But why does he need it when he's going in for literally 1 minute? What was he doing with the computer in there? Or did he just not trust us? Did he think that if he let go of his computer for all of 1 minute, I was going to run away with it or something? I don't know what he was doing. If you have any theories, please put them in the comments, because to this day, I don't know what he was doing. And the other thing which happened in Solon Hall, I'm sure Nerina will remember this, is in our university residence, maybe this isn't something I should make fun of, but it was funny at the time, one of the kids lost his mind. Now, I won't say his name. I think that's a way that it's okay for me to talk about it. But I think this kid had watched too many Scarface movies and Godfather movies. He convinced himself he was a gangster. Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about, Nerina. Guy thought he was a gangster, and he started talking like he was a rapper, threatening us. I remember he came to me and he said, you know what? You're good at math, aren't you? And I said, yes, I'm good at math. He says, you're my accountant now. I own you. It was really bizarre. And then he started running up and down the streets, and then he attacked a group of police people, and then he got arrested and sent back home to his country. So, I mean, nothing terrible happened. I wanted to Google him and make sure he's okay now, but I only remember his first name. And you can't just Google first name, went crazy in university, and find them. So wherever he is, I hope he's okay. And maybe he wasn't actually a crazy. Maybe he actually is a criminal. And he just forgotten his cover. And we were seeing the real him. Food for thought. Now, before my final suggestion, let me take one last look at the comments. and then we will close this show. We will close the show. Okay, here we go. We have got, now I see how I should have done it. Should have put that in the middle of the screen. Then I can see it. Okay. Okay. Corona is hard on married couples. It is indeed. Kadabugodo Oliver says, greeting from Ireland home. Greeting. Rafal Christensen, hilarious. I'm glad you are laughing. I'm glad to everybody who is laughing. How are you only 16 watching? Don't worry that there's 16 of you watching. Some people watch on YouTube. Some people watch on Facebook. And then when I post it afterwards, people come and find it. But please, if you enjoy the show, please share it. I'm trying to build up an audience. It is growing very, very slowly. But I'd like to get to, in a month, by the time I hit number 30, I'm at number 17. By the time I hit 30, I'd like to be getting if each one is getting maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people, then I will feel not in vain. Because if I was doing a stand-up comedy show to 2,000 people, I would feel that's a good-sized audience. So that is the aim. Please help me keep doing it. And final questions. Final one. Am I doing another one tomorrow? Yes, Matsy. I do them every day. At 9 p.m. And in fact, they are loads of episodes with different jokes. If you go to my YouTube, anybody here, go to YouTube, Deliso Chaponda, right? Or just look for Coronacast Comedy Show. You will find 16 previous episodes about I've never written this many jokes in my life. Literally, I'm writing so many jokes every day. So that's awesome. And it is a really sharp outfit. I like it. Final joke of the day is a joke suggestion from, I don't even know. Oh, there were two people who suggested this, who wanted jokes about Chinese eating habits, right? Now, I know what they wanted me to talk about. So first of all, before I do my joke, I will say, just so you know, right? You cannot get Corona from Chinese food. There are people not ordering Corona. Yeah, they call it Corona. They're not ordering Chinese food because they think it's Corona food. It's got to give them, you can eat noodles. You're fine. It doesn't travel in the food, okay? You can't get it. Eat what you like, okay? You cannot get the coronavirus from watching Kung Fu movies. There are people avoiding watching Jackie Chan movies because they don't want to get the coronavirus. Don't be an idiot. Also, there's lots of fake stories running around, right? Stories implying that, Corona started with bat soup. It didn't start with bat soup. That video of the bat soup, which went viral, wasn't even filmed in China. It was filmed in a neighboring country. So many weird stories going on about it. And they're getting more and more absurd, right? They're getting more and more insane. And I almost feel like the viral video of the bat soup thing, probably one person shared it to another person, just saying, look at this. And then the next person passed it on to someone else. And when they passed it on to someone else, they didn't get it right. And they sort of said, well, this bat soup caused the disease. And then it passed on to the next person. And then they forgot that it wasn't in China. And they made it was Chinese. And with every person that shared the story, it changed and grew. And it got more and more complicated. Almost like that game. That party game? South African Whispers. I tried my best, people. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Coronacast Comedy Show. It was a little different today because I wasn't necessarily in the mood, but at the same time, I started to enjoy it around halfway in. So thank you for helping cheer me up. I hope you're all doing well wherever you are. You can tune in again every day, 9 p.m. GMT. Any of you who want to help me, sort of just financially support this so that I can, jazz it up and get better cameras and stuff, that you can donate up there on PayPal, Ko-fi, or Patreon. Other than that, thank you for stopping by. Come back tomorrow and be safe. Stay safe. We'll get through Corona. Keep the laughter coming. This was Deliso Chaponda, and have a very good evening.